evening, everybody. It's a Turnbuckle Bandwagon. My name is Matt D. Joined by Bumwine Bobs and Pro Wrestling Post, Tiffany Maryhill. Hello, Tiffany.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Matt.
Hello. And we are here to discuss this weekend's Limitless Wrestling VacationLand Cup tournament. It's a bit of a different tournament this year. It's a little smaller because of the pandemic. It's an 8-person tournament. Single elimination matches. All the winners go into a fatal 4-way, and the winner will become the new Limitless Wrestling champion, the belt which was vacated by Anthony Green when he moved on down the road. It's an interesting tournament. A lot of talent in here. Tiff, what do you think of the field of this year's VacationLand Cup?
I'm really excited. Just the field of talent that you have here. This is what I wanted to see all 2020. I kind of want to see these style of matches and this level of talent. So it's nice to see that we're kind of closing out the year with this field of competitors that we have for this. I like this. This is what we need.
Yep, it's going to be Saturday night on IWTV. So if you've got a WTV or you don't, you can find a promo code out there somewhere. Maybe they'll give me one at some point and y'all can sign up and enjoy the dearth of content, including Tiffany's weekly show, Action Clash. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Action Clash on Tuesday nights. Then 7 Central, 8 your time. But yeah, every Tuesday night, I guess I could call it my home promotion. New South Pro Wrestling has that coming up weekly. So yeah, check that out.
Yep. And we've also got some non-tournament matches, which are all pretty fun. So we'll get into those first. Then we'll get into the tournament stuff because Tiff has thoughts. I have thoughts. The VacationLand Cup in the course of 4 years has become, like, I think 2 years in, it became like this big tournament here on the East Coast. It was a tournament everybody wanted to get into and everybody was trying to get into. And pandemic has derailed that a bit, but now with no champion, and you have 8 of probably the best independent wrestlers on the East Coast competing, it should be a heck of a night. Tournaments are tough because you get your big tournaments where you wrestle 3 times, but you're going into, these are going to be grueling matches for these individuals. And then you got to go into a fatal 4-way. Right. So you hope to get enough rest, and then you've got to deal with 3 other competitors. It's going to be a good one.
Right.
Let's see. Let's get into our non-tournament matches. And some of these are fun. I just saw these today because I kind of was slacking a little bit. First one up, and we're actually going to be talking to one of these participants tomorrow, Davienne versus Becca.
Yeah, that one. Now, I'll say this, and I've been a growing Davienne fan, I guess since when I first saw her on Uncharted Territory, and I believe it was against Alley Cat, that match. Yes. And yeah, since then, I've been just like, okay, I've got to see more of this person. I think that she is wonderful. I think she's great. And so I'm thinking she's going into this match knowing she's going to win. I'm calling her the winner, but I can't really make that prediction without saying 100% clarity because you never know what's going to happen. But I will go ahead and say that, yeah, Davienne. How do you pronounce her name?
Davienne.
Davienne. I call her Davienne because I'm from the South, but Davienne sounds good to me.
Yeah, Davie's awesome. I've seen her wrestle numerous places up here in New England. She's kind of one of those types, like, she is very pleasant. She has her thing, but when that bell rings, she turns into a demon by her own.
She turns it on.
The switch gets flipped, and she just annihilates whoever's in front of her. Becca's great. She's very entertaining, very athletic, but she's also very new. I think prior to her appearance on the road, she really only been in wrestling a very short time. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be a good test for Becca going in against somebody like Davienne who's got a lot more experience.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to see how this works out because Davie doesn't really have a style. She really just kind of goes into a match and adapts.
She does her own thing.
Yeah. Whoever she's dealing with, she can. I've seen her get into brawls, and I've seen her get into like grapple matches. I saw a match with her and Layla Hirsch at another. It wasn't even a Beyond show. There was some other show, but it was a great back and forth match.
I saw clips. No, I remember. Yeah, I can't remember what promotion that was for, but yeah, I mean, just different styles just coming together, and I think that's great. You don't see a whole lot of that. Just a whole just smorgasbord of talent there. But you never know though. With the new kids coming up, you never know when they can just bust out that upset victory and just surprise us all. So, you
She
never know
could.
with that.
We'll see. We'll see what Davian does against the leader of the Scrunchy Squad. Again, I'll be talking to her hopefully on Saturday, trying to make that happen, and see if I can get some insight before the show starts on Saturday.
Good deal.
Next match up is Big Beef versus Rip Bison. More familiar with Rip Bison. Him and Perry Von Vicious, their tag team, have been knocking around the New England scene here for a bit. Big Beef is exactly what it says on a tin. Big
Yeah.
guy. Wow.
Yeah, I'm actually more familiar. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm more familiar with Big Beef. Actually, I've seen both these competitors, but Big Beef is a little bit more familiar to me because he's kind of down from my area. And I got to kind of go with Big Beef here. I don't know how you're going with this, Matt, but that's kind of the start. I guess a warm take, really, going against, I guess, the hometown people, hometown favorites there.
I don't know. I want to say Rip, but I feel like what I've seen of Big Beef, and I've not seen a lot. What I've seen has been impactful. I mean, he kind of takes over. He has a lot of that when people talk about like intangibles and presence, and not to say Rip doesn't have that, but Big Beef kind of seems to have this aura when he comes out, and it just, I feel like it's going to be close, but I feel like Big Beef probably could take this in a squeaker, and Rip Bison's kind of been, he's been kind of reforming himself, but he's still kind of trying to find his feet.
Right.
He'd been tag team wrestling with Perry for so long, and now he's kind of doing his own thing as a singles competitor. That there's always an adjustment there.
And that's a hard adjustment to make. I don't mean to cut you off, but I've noticed that in a lot of tag teams this year. It seems like this year's kind of been a popular for tag teams to kind of go their separate ways and kind of feel out their singles. And it takes a while for them to find that footing that you were mentioning as a singles competitor. So that could probably play a big factor in this outcome.
I get Big Beef, but by not by much. If Rip wins, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think Big Beef is going to walk in and shock some folks at Limitless.
Oh, I agree. I definitely agree there.
Next one up, we have it's a tag team debut, but it's two folks we've seen on the road before. The Prestige, Brett Ryan Goslin and Channing Thomas, that's what they're calling themselves now, versus the Beverage Barons, Megabyte Ronnie and Puff.
Yeah. That one's hard for me to call, just because that's kind of a debut and it's new to me. Yeah. So I don't know. You tell me how you feel about that one.
It's interesting because I've seen both Channing Thomas and BRG separately. Channing Thomas is a tremendously talented wrestler, but he is very young. He's in his first couple years as a wrestler. He's wrestled at Over the Top up here and Limitless and a couple other places. I've seen BRG at Northeast Wrestling. I mean, they're both young. BRG is talented. He's a little, I think, newer in the business than Channing Thomas is. I feel like Channing Thomas is kind of this new breed, this new generation of these pure athlete types that come into wrestling. Maybe that wouldn't have come into wrestling in their 20s, say 10 years ago.
Right.
Gone and play pro ball or play some other semi-pro sport and then ended up in wrestling. But now you have guys, they're coming into college and coming straight into wrestling.
Yeah. They have that goal, and I like that. That's great.
That's always interesting. And on the other side, I've interviewed Megabyte Ronnie on this show. The guy is in his first couple years as a professional wrestler. When we all saw him on Uncharted Territory, he was in his 14th or 15th match against the guy who trained him in Brandon Thurston. And Puff's been around for a bit too. Buffalo group,
yeah,
they're always going to be in matches. I won't count them out of any match that they're in, regardless of who it's against.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with those Buffalo boys in this situation than anything else, and so I'm not going to bet against them. I'm going to go ahead and go with them. And I guess I would say that my hot take, so to speak, for this match would be that, I guess, how should I say this? The Buffalo boys, I think, are kind of, before the pandemic, let me just go ahead and say this, they were kind of starting to be a kind of big group, in my opinion. I think this is going to be kind of the start of seeing something big from that group of wrestlers in 2021. And I'm hoping we see more matches with that group.
Yeah, I think if you haven't seen Megabyte Ronnie before, he's appeared on AEW Dark. Again, he's one of those guys that has that charisma and that presence. Like the whole, he's a competitive eater. He's a 15th
Yeah.
ranked in the world. Look at him. The man is in shape.
He really, I mean, for a competitive eater, when you think competitive eater, you don't think of guys that are in the conditions that Megabyte Ronnie's in, but he's also got a military background too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's an army vet. That's kind of how he started in competitive eating. When we talked, I had asked him what kind of spurred it, and I guess he was in the army where he was. They have these K bars. It's a protein bar, but it's supposed to be meal replacement. You have one, you're good for 8 hours. He
Oh,
was
okay.
downing like 4 or 5 of them in one sitting.
That'll get you started.
So,
Like competitive eating.
yeah, he's entertaining, and I really think between Buff and Megabyte, I feel like Megabyte Ronnie's like one of these guys that like he's 1 or 2 big matches away from like being on TV on a regular basis, be it AEW,
Yes.
be it Impact.
And maybe it's not that hot of a take to say that. I feel like him being a part of that group, and they just all individually, everybody kind of involved with that. Another one, I'm just going to throw his name out there, Daniel Garcia.
We're going to talk about him later.
Yeah.
But save the Daniel Garcia because I have thoughts about his match coming up.
Yeah.
And next, I'll take the Beverage Barons. I mean, not that Channing Thomas and BRG aren't talented, but they're debuting as a tag team. I know they've kind of worked together and kind of like this weird, like when one of them's competed, the other one's kind of like with them at the ring. They've kind of like escorted each other out to the ring. I just don't know how they work as a team. And I just think Megabyte Ronnie and Puff is going to be too much for them to handle.
I see that. Yeah, I see that as well.
Good learning experience for them, though.
True. Very true.
All right. And the last one, this is actually, I'm excited for this one. The Sea Stars going up against MSP. Aiden Agro's back from injury. I believe it's his first match back. And him and DK are stepping in against the Sea Stars.
Yeah. Okay. This is going to be where you probably completely diverge from me. But okay. I really see the Main State Posse getting this. I know that Aiden Agro is just now coming back. I know that, it's been a little bit since they've meshed together in the ring. And I know we all love the Sea Stars. I do. I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to discredit the Sea Stars in any way. But before this year happened, I was getting to be a big fan of the Main State Posse. Yeah. And matter of fact, they were one of the first, I believe, kind of limitless talent that I found out about. So, and maybe it's just me being a fangirl, but my hot take is they're going to win this. They're going to win this match.
I mean, it's going to be a good match. The Sea Stars are kind of getting their shine on. They recently appeared at Impact at the Knockouts Tag Team Champion. They did lose their match, but it's with the tag teams in that tournament. There's no shame in that.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Both Ashley Vox and Delmi Exo, and it's XO. I don't know why commentators keep messing it up as XO.
That's probably why I can't say Davian's name.
Like 3 shows, people keep messing it up. I don't know if it's like a running joke or I'm just missing something.
Yeah, actually, it could be a running joke at this point.
Could be. And MSP is great. As much as I like to see Stars, we're not going to diverge. This is Limitless's home turf. DK is very involved with Limitless. I know he's a trainer at their training place, their dojo. MSP, I mean, She Stars are going to show up. They're going to have a good time, but they're also going to be competitive. They are still the Shimmer Tag Team champs.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to end up back at Impact. I don't know if on a regular basis, but I think once those titles get established, we'll see more of the Sea Stars there.
I agree.
That being said, MSP, I remember hearing their name, and then they showed up at an NEW show kind of at random. Someone had dropped out. They were open. They drove down on short notice that day to make that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the first show they appeared at, and Northeast Wrestling, and I'll ask DK about it tomorrow. I think they got a call that morning, and they hopped in the car and were like, I think
they were there that evening.
And they were there that evening. I mean, and from where they're at in Maine, Portland, it's about a 5-ish hour, maybe 6 hour drive.
That's impressive. That's love for the business.
Exactly. Because that's what you do at kind of at certain points. You want to get your name out there, and being able to appear for Northeast Wrestling at one of the Bethany shows.
Yeah.
Northeast,
make that drive.
Yeah, and working at Northeast Wrestling opens doors for you. It's gonna
I agree.
And we've seen it at AEW, we've seen it at Impact. Guys who compete at Northeast Wrestling get signed. It may not be right away, but it's gonna.
Well, I mean, I'll kind of say something to that too. It's down south. We realized that. If you really want to get your name up there, Northeast, that's kind of the way it's always been since we were little kids. Since I was a little kid. it hadn't really changed. And so we have that, we have people in New South that we're like, oh yeah, we got to see if they'll get you up and beyond. That's kind of the way it goes. You start wherever you start, and then all roads seem to lead up to Maine, up to, New England.
It's either New England or California. It was Florida for a little bit, but that kind of went away when NXT like took over Florida.
Right.
But it's either New England, the Midwest, kind of Chicago area with freelance.
Yeah.
And then out in California, like PWG and those types,
those are the big territories now. And we're trying, down south here, we're really trying because, we used to have Memphis, but it's so terribly hard to, try to get anything regulated to where you can work in Memphis anymore. And so now we have places like Atlanta, Action Wrestling in Atlanta, and we have other places in Tennessee, out of Nashville. So, the South is trying to get where you guys are. But yeah, that's kind of the way the setup is right now. The Northeast, what Limitless is doing, what Beyond is doing, that's where the eyes are at.
That's where I was. Beyond is where I was introduced to AC Mack and introdued to Action Wrestling from that point.
Right.
And I need to have him up here more so I can just
yes, AC Mack needs to take over the Northeast.
You get him up here at least once a month, and
and the heat. Yeah, you would never have that much snow again because the heat would be that intense.
Be his own weather front. It's like, oh, we're gonna have snow. Call AC Mack up and just roll.
Yeah, he's the reason it doesn't snow all that much down here.
All right. Now those are the kind of non-tournament matches. The way I assume is they're gonna have a tournament match, and then one of these matches in to give everybody kind of as much rest as they can. And now we're gonna get into the tournament matches. I'm excited for all these when they announced all these, and I got to figure out which one I want to address first. Hold on. I got my handy dandy notepad here. Here it is. Okay, here we go. First one, this will be the rubber match between these two. The Price City OG, who we've had on this show, Alec Price against Ace Romero, kind of Limitless's franchise guy, current Impact star. This is the rubber match. They have a win. Alec Price is the episode 1, season 1 of The Road. Main event of that was Ace Romero versus Alec Price. I believe won that match.
Yeah.
Next match, Alec won the next one. Alec is a young, loudmouth kid from East Boston, but damn if he isn't talented.
He is so good. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Alec Price for the win here. I'm not saying that because I necessarily like him. I just think he has the most loud mouth and the most brash, rude personality. And he's kind of what I think of when I think of people from that area. Not everybody, but just kind of in general. But no, everything that he does in that ring backs up every little snotty comment that will ever come out of his mouth. He really does pay that cost to say what he says because he's good. He's really good. And not to take anything against AC Romero either, because he is awesome. But I just think with somebody young and with somebody who's got all of 2021 ahead of them, if Alec Price is going to win a match, this needs to be the one.
Yeah. He's by his own admission, he's this loudmouth hood rat from East Boston. He's this kid from Eastview who's loved wrestling his whole life, and this is what he wants to do. Ace Romero is the franchise of Limitless. When Limitless started blowing up 2, maybe 3 years ago, Ace Romero was the guy in the main events. He was the guy people were coming to see. He goes viral with that pounce at that show a couple years ago.
That's how I got to know who Ace Romero was.
I mean, and that clip was on Sports Center. It was like on regular talk shows. It was all over the internet. I think it got like close to 1 million views. And AC is a hell of a wrestler. And he's also dropped a bunch of weight in the past year.
Yes.
He's down about 100 pounds.
He is looking amazing. He's gotten in fantastic shape. And if you hadn't seen him before, you might not even recognize him. That's how good. Yeah,
and him and Larry D are doing big things at Impact. Much as I want to say, AC has carried Limitless to a certain point. I just think it's Alec's time. It's a rare match. And when we talked with him, we talked a little bit after we were done recording, and Alec Price wants to be the face of Limitless so bad. He wants this at a level that I think not a lot of people understand. And for someone,
I wonder, Matt, if he's ready to do that kind of work. I mean, I know that he can do that kind of work, but is he ready to carry that on a week-to-week basis? Because
you're right. Because I mean, when you're 21, 22, you want to take over the world and you think you can do it. And I don't fault him for it. But you're right. It's when you become the guy. The target goes on your back. You're at the top of the mountain, and everyone who comes in there is going to give you their best every match. And is he ready for that? I maybe, I don't know. He seemed, again, with the mouth, he seems to think he does, but I think winning this match will go a long way towards it.
Towards proving it, I agree.
Towards proving it. You know, it's a long road, but I think all these matches are great. This is a road match. I've been invested in this since the road started. So I'll be pulling for a young Mr. Price.
I will as well.
Next one up is again, former guest on Turnbuckle Bandwagon, Christian Casanova, the top talent, taking on CJ Cruz. Anyone who's watched me, listen to me talk, Casanova's the dude right now.
Oh, yes.
He's made his debut out at the Collective weekend for Black Label Pro. Showed the world, you know, what he and Tasha Steelz are all about. You see Tasha on Impact. You know, when he already made his BLP debut prior to, you know, show before. The guy he's this far from being on TV every week. This far, he's this close.
And honestly, in my opinion, he should have been on TV a long time ago. So, but hey, whatever it takes to get there.
You know, he can do it all. Him and Alec Price had a great match this past week on the road. You know, he got the W. And that was it was an entertaining match, folks. Go check it out.
I finally got to watch that. I didn't get to watch it live on the live stream last night, but before I went to bed last night, I did get to see that, and I was very happy because I was wanting to see how that would turn out. They did a good job building that up, and I was really glad, really satisfied with that payoff.
And as much as I like CJ Cruz and as tenacious as CJ Cruz is, and I think it's going to be a heck of a Casanova wins this. I'm not saying easily, but he's got the W.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy match. CJ Cruz, let me talk for a moment about him, and that's why I was gonna. I don't know if this is another hot take, but this is going to be if not a lengthy match, this is not going to be a quick walk in the park for Christian Casanova. This is probably going to be one of his better matches this year, in fact, because CJ Cruz, when I first saw him, excuse me, on Beyond Wrestling, I was like, okay, yeah. And at first glance, I was like, okay, it doesn't really look like this guy can go in the ring. He doesn't have that same presence as Christian Casanova, but not many people do, quite honestly. But by the end of that CJ Cruz match, and I believe it was tournament. I don't know if it was tournament for tomorrow, or if it was Discovery Gauntlet, or one of those. It might have been Discovery Gauntlet. At the end of that match, what was it?
Well, he's been in both. He's been in this. He competed in the first, the second season Discovery Gauntlet. I think his match was against Daniel Garcia.
That's the one. That's the one against Daniel Garcia. After that match, I was just like, this guy is legit. This guy is the truth. And then when I saw that this match was going to happen I think it's an opening round match as part of this tournament for VacationLand Cup, I was like, this is going to be a real match. I hope nobody's thinking this is going to be just one of the quicker ones. So this one is probably going to steal the show. So y'all heard it here first. Watch this particular match. This one's going to steal the show, and Christian Casanova will win. And then I'll go as far as to say as Christian Casanova will be the ultimate winner at the end of this tournament.
Okay. I could share that view. We'll see as we move through. Next one up in a match I'm interested in, kind of on one side, JD Drake versus Kevin Blackwood. I'm a big Kevin Blackwood guy. He's one of the Buffalo guys, one of the Buffalo Bros. Yeah. He's got that solid foundation. To me, Kevin Blackwood is what I call, and I say this as a compliment, he's a plug and play wrestler, meaning that you can drop him in any sort of match and he's going to give you a great performance. He's going to give you a great match. He's going to give you a solid match no matter who you put him up against.
I agree. And JD Drake is, same level, I would say. I would say JD Drake and Kevin Blackwood are almost the same as far as putting everything into that match, because I've seen Kevin Blackwood mostly in Beyond, but from what I've seen, though, he goes all out. And from what I've seen of JD Drake, which is mostly down here in South, same thing. So you've got kind of an evenly matched as far as a work level here in this one. But just like I was saying earlier with my whole take on how the Buffalo Boys are going to kind of dominate, I think this is one where we're going to see Blackwood win, and going along with the whole, Buffalo is going to be having a big 2021. This is where it all starts. So I think Kevin's got this one.
Yeah, I mean, JD Drake, former Evolve champion, he's one of the, and JD Drake's one of those wrestlers. people look at him and they kind of discount him because of his
Yeah,
look, but he hangs around and he hangs around and he keeps coming at you and he keeps coming at you. I mean,
tenacious.
I watched his rivalry with Austin Theory happen at Evolve, and those
Mhm.
were just knock down, drag out. You know, if I who'd know who was going to win going into any of those matches, you know, because he just keeps coming at you. I see Blackwood eking out the win here, but it's going to be one of those when you're done with it.
Mhm.
You're gonna know you've been in a fight.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be the standout that I think that Casanova and Cruz is going to be, but I do think that we're going to see a hell of a fight. If JD Drake is involved, you're definitely going to see one. And but yeah, I do see Kevin getting the win here, and it might be a very surprise win. But I see those Buffalo boys just taking the whole show here.
All right. And the match kind of rounding out the first round. All the winners go into a fatal four way. That's my understanding. I don't know if
Yeah.
that changed. Fatal four way, and then the winner becomes Vacation Land Cup winner, Limitless champion. Red Death Daniel Garcia versus Lee Moriarty.
Oh,
Whew,
this one's
that's
so
a
difficult. This one
whew.
is so difficult. And this was where the hottest of the hot takes, I think, came from.
Okay.
I love Lee Moriarty. This has been his year. Now, if you're going to go back and say, and I'm sure that we're going to see this at the IWTV Awards, this is Lee Moriarty's year. And upon first glance, you're looking at this match and you're probably looking at the whole tournament thinking he's going to take the whole thing. And you might be right to say that, I'm sure. But Daniel Garcia, Red Death, I don't know if you've seen him lately, Matt. I mean, I'm sure you have. That guy is in the best shape he's ever been in.
Yeah.
And as good as he looks right now, and as good as he's looked in ICW, in completely out of his element, he's been just stretching his talent as far as it can go and just stepping outside of his comfort zone. We're going to see a completely different Red Death in the ring this Saturday than what we're used to. I think he's going to have something for Lee that Lee's not used to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. This has been the year of Lee Moriarty.
No doubt.
You've seen him everywhere. He's having amazing matches. Probably going to rack up those IWTV awards. A little bit of regional bias with Red Death on my end, though, just because because of the pandemic, there were so many of these big matches and that Garcia was supposed to be in. Like I think he was supposed to wrestle AJ Gray. AJ Gray
Yeah,
asked for the match, and that
yeah,
had to get at Slamilton. Slamilton had to get canceled. I
yeah.
believe he was supposed to also wrestle Alex Shelley. Shelley got injured, and that didn't happen. I think that's been scheduled twice already at different time periods.
Oh, has it been twice? That's, yeah.
I think when the past couple of years, when Shelley came back to the independents, someone was trying to put him and Garcia together, didn't work out, and then it was announced again fairly recently, and that didn't work out again due to timing. So I feel like Junior Sugi, he gets told, hey, you're going to face this person, you're going to face AJ. Like I was ready for that AJ Gray match at Slamilton.
Yes, absolutely. I
Because
remember when they said that. It was, yeah.
when they announced it, I was like, I tweeted at AJ, I was like, you're going to have to kill him to win that.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Him. And yeah, I didn't see the ICW match, but I saw Daniel Garcia's tweets about it, about, just again,
He was out of his element. I mean, but he did such a good showing. This is something that, that's usually not his thing. But he gets into the pit, gets into the pit and he throws down. And I'm just like, okay, we're seeing a new side of him. And I'm thinking that same guy that went into the pit last weekend is the same guy we're going to see, step into the ring against Lee Moriarty. And I think we're going to see, the Red Death that we know, but we're also going to see him bust out some things that we're not used to.
Yeah. And this is, allow me to get a little like sports cliche on this match, just because the way it matches up. This is one of those, like, whoever makes the first mistake, that's it.
Yeah.
You're going to get kind of a professional stalemate where Garcia is going to come do his thing. Lee Murray is going to do his thing. They're going to kind of bounce off of each other and they're going to beat the crap out of each other. It's whoever slips up first and makes that first mistake. That's it. If Lee doesn't hit him right and misses with that arm, Garcia's going to grab it and pull it off of him. If Garcia makes a misstep, Moriarty's going to make him pay for it. That's just how I see this. I think this match it'll be one of those matches. I don't think it's going to be a submit. I know Garcia's going to want to go for a submission, or maybe just what I've seen of him, but I feel like it's not going to end like that. I feel like it's going to be one of these, somebody slips up and it's a 3 and that's
But I think also, Matt, that they're both of them, both Lee and Daniel are going to be looking for that. They're going to be looking for that opening. And I think that's kind of what this whole match is going to hinge on, that one spot where they can take it. And yeah, I agree. I don't think we're going to get a submission here, even though both these guys are specialists. I think we're going to get a pinfall, and I think it's going to be something shocking.
Yeah, I do. They're both going to go. I think it could be one of those matches which starts at a very like technical type style, and I think as it moves through and neither guy gives. Usually with technical wrestling, they go, and then if you can't get the guy, you get frustrated and you just say, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to start hitting them and see what happens. And I feel
see if that works.
See if that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is, I think, just Garcia's in, like you said about ICW, but in general, I think this year there were so many big matches that he was like gearing up for and he's going to get. And then I think when you do that as an athlete, especially with a lot of the stuff happening in sports out here and with the pandemic, you get ramped up for this, and it's like this kind of letdown, and then you get something else, and it's like this up and down. But then when you finally get on the field or get in the ring, you just go. And I feel like that's, I feel like this is a push. I feel horrible. I'm gonna take Red Death. I'm gonna take Red Death, and I'll be wrong, whatever. I'm gonna take Red Death in this match.
And I'm happy in this case with this kind of a match. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong, because I know that it's gonna be, it's gonna slap that hard. It's gonna be that good that, no matter who wins, I think I'm gonna be satisfied with the match that we got. It's kind of like, the one that I'm expecting between Casanova and Cruz. I think that's gonna be the match of the show. Okay. And, no matter who wins, even though I'm pretty well sure Casanova's gonna win it, that's going to be something entertaining. So yeah, I can see Lee Moriarty and Daniel Garcia as one. No matter who comes out winning that, we're all going to feel satisfied. We're all going to feel like, yeah, they gave it all. They're all.
All right. Those are the matches. And let's kind of just spitball a little bit here. Let's say our final four, which I think will be Alec Price, Daniel Garcia. I'm going to take Kevin Blackwood. No disrespect to JD Drake. I just think Blackwood's got it. And Casanova. So Casanova, Blackwood, Garcia, Alec Price. If that's the four.
I'm shocked that we agree on all four.
Yeah, it's I've seen both matches, but like the reason I'm leaning towards Daniel Garcia is because like I've been in the building when he's come out at Beyond Wrestling.
Yeah.
And there was just like he walks out, he's got the towel on his head, but the look on his face is just, I'm going to murder you. And if you want to stop me, you've got to murder me.
You've got to kill him. He has the most, and not necessarily just intimidating, but he's serious. No matter what Daniel Garcia does in that ring, he means it. And that's the look he has on his face. Not necessarily that he's trying to scare you, but that he is serious. He is here for business. And that's scary in itself.
Yeah, and everyone that's trained with him. When I talked with Meg about Ronnie, I asked him about, even training with Daniel Garcia, and he's beat the shit out of me at training. Like we're training, we're just practicing.
Just training,
and he just be beating the shit out of me. He's like and he's training, and he's like that's just how he's is.
Always on. He is always on, and I love it. That's why he's Red Death. That is why he's Red Death. But yeah, that final four, I definitely agree with.
So out of that final four, it's a fatal four-way, so it's a single pin. You've got, if these are the four gentlemen, I really think that's going to be it. How do you see it? Does someone have to isolate? Someone's got to isolate somebody. How do you see this? How do you see this shaking out if those are the final four gentlemen that will be competing?
With this shaking out, that Blackwood and Garcia, if they're in that fatal four-way, that's going to be your big story. You got those Buffalo brothers there. So with that going on, then you're going to have what we see Alec Price and Christian Casanova, who have just had their big match. So you've got two big stories going on there, and what I think, or what we both think is going to be this final four. So I'm not sure how they're going to mesh, knowing that we've got two stories going on there. That's going to be really interesting.
It is. When Casanova Alec Price won his match, not this episode before, what led into the match with him and Casanova. The promo he gave at the end of that episode, where he's just
that was rough. That was
before the interview even talked to him. Like he's just standing there, and you can just like see the heat coming off of him.
Yes.
Like, he wasn't having any of Casanova's stuff
No.
at
Nope.
all. I think
Nope.
because he's the guy, again, he wants everyone to pay attention to him and look
Yeah.
at him. Casanova stands up and then takes his shirt off.
He's gonna have all the attention.
And like, that's just how it is. So that, will that youth, he gets back in the ring with Casanova, especially in a high pressure situation,
Hmm.
will he be focused on winning that title, or will he be focused on trying to
That
take?
I think that youthful energy is going to be his downfall. That hubris, or hubris, however you want to pronounce it. I think that's going to be his downfall. Going in there so just gung ho against getting back at Christian Casanova will eventually get Alex Price eliminated.
All right, so who do you see walking away with the Limitless title once we're all said and done here?
Christian Casanova is going to be your next Limitless champion. He's going to win this VacationLand Cup. I'm seeing it coming. I'm saying it right now. Y'all can take that to the bank. It's going to be Christian Casanova. And I see Casanova coming. I see it finally coming down to Casanova and Garcia. I just see it coming down to a pinfall and Casanova getting that pinfall. And we're all going to be just shocked, surprised, but at the same time, I'm going to expect it just because I think Christian Casanova has got a huge 2021 ahead of him, and this is going to be the belt that he carries into next year.
I mean, folks, let's look at who's had that title in the past. Anthony Green, he's kind of on to greener pastures and bigger things.
Absolutely.
The champion before him won Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
And look at where he is.
So that Limitless title opens doors and gets you places. And you're 100% correct. It's Limitless has done a great job of building stars, and the same with that Beyond has. VacationLand Cup is going to be a great show all around. Again, Saturday night, IWTV. And for $10, you're getting so much value for you. You can watch action pro wrestling. You can watch Beyond. You can watch Limitless. The tons of stuff on there. Watch Zona 23 if you haven't watched it before. It's wrestling in a working junkyard. I mean, I feel like this will be the last big show of the year. Can't Believe Frog does have a show coming up. I'm talking with Sam Laterna on Sunday afternoon. They have their Christmas Trios show coming. It's probably not as big as King of Trios, but they're trying to kind of be a spiritual successor, but do like a Christmas thing. And it's on Christmas Eve. So that'll be fun. So in general, is this, you think, kind of like the last big show of the year, maybe someone else might announce something
as far as I know, I think this is going to be the last big show. Well, of course you have Action Clash's final show before Christmas. I think that's going to be this coming Tuesday. As far as big shows, big tournament shows, the VacationLand Cup definitely, I think, is one of the big closers of the year. And of course you have the end of the year GCW New Year's Eve show in Atlantic City. So we've got a few more good shows coming up.
Before we go, I wanted to ask you, you've been watching the Action weekly show, Action Clash. I keep forgetting. Who's kind of been has there been kind of a breakout star down there? Someone like maybe.
Oh yeah, you got y'all got to keep your eyes open for a few names coming out. I know that Adam Priest is one that has had more than a few appearances on AEW Dark, as well as Kung Fu Janela. Donnie Janela, of course, Joey Janela's cousin, has made a few appearances. So top people that you're going to want to look for, definitely Adam Priest. Kenzie Page, as far as the ladies are concerned, Kenzie is the current co-holder of the New South Tag Team Championship with Dylan McKay. They're called Petty in Pink, which I love that name, Petty in Pink. And watch out for Kenzie Page. She's going to make some waves here in the next year, I think, in AEW on some episodes of Dark. Adam Priest will definitely be back on the show. Baron Black, who is mostly in, I think, AEW now, or at least doing a lot of Dark episodes, was big in New South last year, which is good because he's one of the big, as far as Black talent, that's one of your big names. Some more that you want to watch out for, of course, Shug D. He's a big name in New South. So, of course, you're going to see him popping up everywhere, not just AEW Dark, but a few good names. Cabana Man Dan is another one that I'm hoping we'll get to see a lot more of on AEW Dark in the next year, because Dan, just one of the backbones of New South Pro Wrestling. So if y'all are watching Action Clash, those are some names that you want look for when you start watching the show. And it's excellent, excellent stuff.
And yeah, Cabana Man Dan's like gotten ripped up and like growing the hair out. Like,
Dan is, I mean, there have been a lot of wrestlers this year that have just made their physique incredible, and Dan is at the top of that list. I would say Cabana Man Dan, KTB, a few other people have just really, Daniel Garcia, another one, has just taken their physique to the next level, and they're looking great as they've done in their career.
Y'all can find Tiff at That Rose Tattoo on Twitter. You've also got a kind of some merch floating around out there. I think I saw a link on your Twitter.
Yeah, if y'all will go to my Twitter, you can see my Teespring store. I've got some merch. If you're looking for something close to the holidays, might not get it delivered by then, but if you're looking for some stuff to get in the new year, yeah, check out my Teespring store. Just check out my sites. I write for Bum Wine Bob on a weekly basis, Pro Wrestling Post. I've got a preview of this weekend's New South show coming up. And if y'all are going to catch me, just catch me this weekend in Alabama at the News House Show. If you're going to Atlantic City for the new year, I will see you there, and we're gonna have a party.
All right. I am on the fence about traveling. It's just I don't know. We'll see. Again, it might be one of those things where, it might be one of those things where I go last minute. As of right now, I'm not going, but that can always change. I'm on at Matt P. Douglas on Twitter, Turnbuckle Bay on YouTube. So comment, subscribe, retweet, whatever. This Saturday night, VacationLand Cup, 8:00. Vacation 4 matches. Winner's going to a fatal 4-way. Winner comes out the new Limitless Wrestling Champion. Gonna be a good show. Limitless has a great roster of talent. I'm excited. Tiff's excited. Watch the show, please.
Absolutely. Don't miss it.